Oh, look, I thought, we gave ourselves a chance in terms of winning the ball and getting inside 50 enough. We just weren't efficient enough when we had it, and they were more efficient than us. So that probably tells the tale of the contest in the end.
Is it a case of not being able to spot up players inside 50, or players inside 50 couldn't win enough contests? What went wrong with you?
We weren't efficient enough in terms of the way we brought it forward. We gave ourselves opportunity one-on-one against their defenders, and their defenders were a bit too good on the day. So, I thought our forwards had enough of an opportunity, but when you get it in 55 times, it's usually enough. Freo had it inside 50, 57 times. So, that was close. Contested possession, we were in front. So a lot of the things we look at, we were on the positive side of the ledger, but we just weren't able to turn those into scores.
After what happened in round 2, it required a response from the players. Did you feel you got that from them emotionally and physically, the effort you got out of them today?
Yeah, no, I was pleased with their effort, but I wasn't pleased with how efficient and clean we were with the ball. And there was a class difference between the way Fremantle used the ball and the way we used the ball, and that was the simple difference at the end of the day.
Richmond and Port Adelaide in the next 2 games at home. Is this a season defining in 2 weeks?
No, I'm not into season defining at round 4.
How do you feel the players backed up, having had the week off last week?
Oh, fine. We had a really good couple of weeks on the track, trained really well, and a lot of the things we worked on we did quite well. But as I said, it really is. I'd love to give you more, but it's a simple game sometimes, and they were more efficient when they went forward with the ball than we were.
Just in general terms, you're still confident your season's very much alive, though, and looking forward to it?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we played 3 games, so we've been to Perth for 2 of those 3. We could have easily have come away with 2 wins from those games. So we're playing well enough we're giving ourselves an opportunity to play well enough to win games of footy. We haven't been quite good enough. We've got to keep working on that. But I look back 12 months ago to the corresponding game over here in Perth against Fremantle, and we were totally outclassed and outworked. And I can't say that was the case today. We were outclassed in terms of clean hands and clean ball movement, but we weren't outworked. So it's a massive improvement compared to the corresponding game last year.
How did one of those players that's questioned by Boomer last week? Were you happy with his output, or was it a case of he just didn't get the opportunities today?
He's playing on a very, very good player. Luke McFarlane's an outstanding defender, and he defended really well. I thought Lockie worked really hard, but McFarlane was up to the challenge, and he beat him on the day. Simple as that.
What do you think of Goldstein's effort against Sandland?
Yeah, well, it's not often you look at the stats and Sandlands comes out, or he doesn't come out miles in front in the hit-out stats. So I thought Goldie competed really well, but Sandland still had an effect on the game, a really positive effect for Fremantle, and he's just an outstanding player. And I thought our midfielders and Todd Goldstein in the ruck competed really well. So we certainly weren't dominated in that area, which was pleasing. But before the game, we knew that if Pavlich and Mundy and Sandilands and Ballantyne and Hill had a big effect on the game, then they'd be hard to stop. I thought Brady Rawlings did a terrific job again on Stephen Hill until we put him back in defence. Hill really, he's a super player, Stephen Hill, but he got the ball a couple of times from our mistakes. So Brady Rawlings' job was fantastic again, but the others we couldn't quite restrict.
Particularly Pavlich in the third quarter when they put a bit of a gap in there.
Yeah.
He definitely wants to lose.
Yeah, you look at the whole game. We were really competitive for 3 quarters, and the third quarter they got on top of us. So, and that's what Pavlich does, and he's done over a long period of time. He gets a hold of you. We couldn't clamp him quick enough, and the game started to get away from us. But Cam Richardson, when we put him on, Pavlich really competed well. But Pavlich is he's a top 20 player in the competition. So that's what your captain and your best player does sometimes, and we just couldn't stop him.
Did those inefficient forward 50 entries just basically allow the Dockers to set up their running game for Marco?
No, I didn't read it that way. I think we tackled our pressure inside forward 50 was pretty good. We just couldn't get the scoring efficiency from the times we went in. That was all.
Injury-wise, how did you come around?
No, clean bill of health, no injuries.
Is anybody due back next week or the next 2 weeks?
We got a couple of guys who had really good performances in our 2 VFL teams, so you know we've got some guys knocking on the door, but you know. The Dockers are up and going at the moment. They're a very good football side, and on their own ground, they're a good side. So, you know, they're pretty much injury-free and got their best team up and running. And, you know, we've got a couple to come back, and we'll look forward to getting them back over the next couple of weeks. But you know, no one specific next week.
And Jack Paul was going yesterday, and you across that, and how exciting is that for the club for him to show what he did?
Yeah, he's improved a lot. You know, if his next 6 months of improvement are as great as his last 6 months, then, you know, he'll be a super player for us. But, you know, he's still got a lot of development and a lot of learning to do. He does exciting things like you would have seen yesterday all the time. You know, he's just got to... we've got to develop the other parts of his game, but he's developing at such a rapid rate then that it's not out of the question that he'll play some senior footy at some stage this year.
So you mentioned one of those players that's knocking on the board.
Oh, well, Todd Goldstein was fantastic for us today. So, you know, that ruck spot's pretty much gone at the moment.
Thanks.
Perfect.